My name is Jiang. I'm 20 years old and I'm a filmmaker and photographer based in New York City. What drew me into photography, what really started for me was movies. When I was younger, I used to be really drawn to like storytelling and kind of writing stories on my own. I was super into comics, I was super into drawing just because my parents would make me take like painting classes like on the weekends, which I wasn't a fan of. Like I didn't really appreciate it until now. Like thinking about it now, I like taking it for granted, but that's kind of like what drew me into photography was just I was fascinated by the visuals that kind of appear on screen when you're watching movies. With photography, it's kind of an easier medium to get into than like videography, because like with video making, there's a lot more involved. So I think around middle school is when I got my first camera and I was just like shooting really stupid stuff of like me and my friends. But thinking about it now, it's like, that's kind of like what really drew me into this world. A lot of like my style I feel is very cinematic. I try to capture images through my thinking and knowledge of filmmaking. When I shoot, I'm not really thinking of the photo in terms of a photo. I'm kind of thinking about it like I'm shooting a movie. Like what story can I tell with this still? How can I use lighting, shadow, composition to create emotion, story? And I think I've only learned that through filmmaking, through creating films, through working on sets with people. So today we're gonna be shooting a personal project for me. It's gonna be based off of like Vermeer's lighting. He's a painter. And what we have for the set is we're going for like well, at least I'm going for like a more natural style. I want the set to be very kind of earth tony and kind of just minimal but like seamless, you know? Like I don't want to go like way too crazy with like the set like too much, but I also don't want it to just be like a backdrop. Like I want there to be kind of like flair to it. So I brought like props. We're gonna have like lights and everything. So I'm shooting with the Hasselblad 500C. I guess the reason why I'm using this camera is just because it's my only medium format camera that works right now. Like that's honestly the reason why.
You want to do it on 7 or 8?
CTB, CTO, Fusion. But I love this color here, but for this color, if we do a quarter CTO, 8. What percent is this? Good, this is perfect.
Do you want more haze?
Yeah. All right, so for this shot, I'm gonna have you tilt your head down again. Nice, love that. Shoot. All right, so I'm gonna get some shots of you with the flowers again. Where are you? I'm like, I died. Nobody told you? But I'm back now, the real Allen, at Instagram.com. Yeah. Actually, can I get a shot of you sitting down without the scarf, with just topless?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sit on the apple box. It's gonna be a portrait. Oh, just right there is cool. I am shooting Portra 800 today. Just because I like the tonality that 800 gives, especially when you're shooting with tungsten lights. And then I want to do one where you're standing now, so let's move the apple box. What if we did a shot where one is over?
Same.
At the camera, yeah. So over the past year, my work has kind of went to a more fashion side. Ideally, like I've wanted to capture more fashion just because I love fashion photography and I love fashion in general. But I still wanted to maintain my style. I still wanted to capture cinematography. So I wanted to still have a lot of lighting, still have a lot of high contrast ratios where there's a lot of color involved. You know, like when I say color, I don't just mean like color. Like black and white has color too. It's just gradient and shade. Just because I feel like 2-3 years ago, I was shooting a lot of stuff that I would see on my road trips. I was shooting a lot of American and suburban photography. I was doing a lot of landscapes, but I really wanted to capture people. And so I think my focus in the past year was to really capture that and bring out people. A lot of my inspiration does come from paintings just because that's the fundamental. Like you have to learn from the basics. Like you can't just like go into like learning photography on Instagram. You have to go to a museum. You have to go to a library. You have to pick up books. When you really think about stuff like that, it really allows you to create this beautiful image. And so I was inspired by Vermeer to create images that look like paintings. I wanted to create portraits of people that look that just has this very painterly feel with the way the lighting works.
Yo, do you think we should put this flower on her ear since Davon had the other color flower? We can put the red one on her ear. I think the red tones will look really good with her skin color. I just want to do like one portrait. Look at the camera. Tilt your head back a little. Not like your head's good, but just tilt, yeah. 3, 2. Can you look over there? Let's have you standing up this time. Let's get a shot where you're kind of like touching this flower.
With your hair back and bring this one side forward.
Can you tilt your head more this way? Yeah. Okay, look up like right here. Yeah. See like that?
So my work is primarily done on film. I guess the reason why is just because with film, you get this very organic look. The colors are just so much better. Like the saturation, the contrast, dynamic range. I think the only thing that film doesn't beat digital in is convenience, getting like the photos like ASAP. So The Hours was a project that I created about a little over a year ago now. And for the motto, I wanted the motto to look very kind of in the moment, very indecisive, isolated, very in her thoughts. In a sense, I wanted to create a fantasy world where you create this mental image in your head, what you depict as like the time, what you really feel like the story is. And that's what I really wanted to go for in The Hours. So with that, I was inspired to look at works at Edward Hopper's work. I was inspired to look at Gregory Crewdson work, just because their work captures a lot of isolation, a lot of moments where you don't really know, hey, like what time is this? You're kind of just wondering like, wow, like what's going on in this picture? Cause like when you look at Hopper's work, you know, like Western Motel, you know it's like golden hour, but we're not sitting there like, oh, I wonder if it's like 5 p.m., you know? We're just wondering like what's the subject in the painting thinking about? Why is she looking at a direction she's looking at? And so I wanted to kind of emphasize more on that as opposed to like, oh, it's like midnight right now because I can tell from the moonlight in the photo, you know? These are the negatives. They're huge. So here's more of the negatives. I think this was the select. You can find more of my work on Instagram at @TheRealAllen, or you can check out my website at aj.xyz.